The knavery of slavery. Introduction. The ownership of a person as property, particularly with respect to their labor, is known as slavery. Slavery usually entails forced labor, with the party holding the slaves in bondage dictating where they must live and work. A person is referred to as a slave or an enslaved person when they are placed into slavery. Many historical instances of slavery resulted from disobeying the law, accruing debt, losing a war, or being exploited for cheaper labor. Other types of slavery were established based on racial or sexual demographics. Slaves might be held in bondage for life or for a predetermined amount of time before being released. There are instances where people willingly join slavery to pay off debts or make money because they are impoverished, even though slavery is typically forced and involuntary. Slavery was a common aspect of civilization throughout human history and was permitted in the majority of societies. However, it is currently prohibited in the majority of nations, unless it is used as a form of punishment for a crime. The slave is legally considered the slave owner's personal property, or chattel, in chattel slavery. The conditions of forced labor and unfree labor that most slaves undergo are referred to, in economics, as de facto slavery. In 1981, the Islamic Republic of Mauritania became the last nation in the world to formally outlaw slavery, and in 2007, it began to prosecute slaveholders. Despite the fact that slavery is prohibited, there were still about 40 million enslaved individuals worldwide in 2019, 26% of whom were minors. Moreover, half of slaves in the modern world work as forced laborers, mostly in the private sector of a nation's economy, such as factories and sweatshops. In industrialized nations, human trafficking is a contemporary form of slavery. In less developed nations, debt bondage is prevalent. Other forms include child soldiers, forced marriages, and captive domestic workers. The word slave was borrowed into Middle English through the Old French esclave, which ultimately derives from Byzantine Greek sigma capital and beta omicron, or epsilon sigma capital and alpha beta nu omicron. According to the widespread view, which has been known since the 18th century, the Byzantine word, borrowed from a Slavic tribe self-named Slovene, which turned into sklavus in the meaning prisoner of war, became slave in the 8th or 9th century, because they often became captured and enslaved. However, this version has been disputed since the 19th century. An alternative contemporary hypothesis states that medieval Latin sclavus derives from a Byzantine word, with the meaning to strip the enemy killed in a battle or to make booty or extract spoils of war. This version has been criticized as well.